It is a policy that we need to introduce in order to protect the competitive fairness of our event.
President of FINA, the organization that oversees international aquatic sports competition, after the announcement that they would no longer allow those who had gone through puberty as males to compete against women in aquatic sports. Anyone who transitioned before puberty, however, it seems under this policy, may in fact be allowed. ESPN, in an article, wrote that swimming's world governing body, FINA, voted to restrict the participation on Sunday of transgender athletes in elite women's competitions and create a working group to establish an open category for them in some events as part of its new policy. Joining me now is commentary writer at the Washington Examiner, Tina Lowe. Tina, good to see you.
Hi, Buck.
So what's your initial reaction to this policy? Step in the right direction?
Obviously a step in the right direction, but one telling that it did come from an international body, one that's not, beholden to the same special interests that have sort of taken American and to a lesser extent your British politics by storm. You've seen the same debate play out across the pond with regards to, do we have all liberal politics powered to the transgender lobby? And globally, no, you're not going to have that same energy, because I think for a lot of people, even more, left-leaning other European countries, see that this is fundamentally about fairness. If it weren't about fairness, the number one places we're pushing back wouldn't be women's sports, which is about equality and safety, especially when it comes to direct contact sports, and also things like, do we house transgender women in biological women's prisons? So yeah, this is good that it's coming from an international organization, but telling that American organizations aren't the ones to start this.
And so what, as we understand it, the policy would mean that you could compete if you were, say, transgender, but you had done your transition in a prepubescent stage. Is that what seems to be the categorizations that are set up by this?
So yeah, so they're clearly trying to toe a line where they won't be accused of transphobia, because the main concern with puberty isn't just the presence of hormones, right? Because Lia Thomas has been on transitional hormones for a few years. It's also about things like bone density and bone size. Those are things that happen during puberty, and they're effectively irreversible. There are some statistics of transgender adults winding up with chronic conditions like osteoporosis or like diabetes as a result of those transitional hormones. But still, any cisgendered or biological man who has gone through male puberty, even if they are on those female affirming hormones, I think that's the correct language, will still have the increased male bone density. And so by saying that it's either Tanner stage 2 or age 12, whichever comes later, they're obviously trying to create a carve out, one that probably won't mean much in practice, because luckily most doctors do not allow children to start transitioning medically from age 12. Hopefully it stays that way. But they're clearly trying to have all their bases covered so that they can't just be accused of just blanket transphobia. But the fact is, when we're talking about the realities of biological sex in something that is supposed to be an objective competition like athletics, there's really no way of dividing between these two.